Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Mr. Brown here. Hope everybody's well. You may have noticed that today you are going to be working on an assignment over the next 2 days, working on an assignment based on Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, which is made up of a Google slide with the speech as well as questions to the right in the margin, questions that you'll be answering. I happen to have that Google slide in front of me, and I just want to go over it a little bit just to help you out. Maybe answer some questions that you might have that I can answer in this video. Okay, so I've got the Google slide in front of me here. You can see that it is made up of 4 pages, all which contain the I Have a Dream speech from page 1 to page 4. Okay, just so you know, I'm sure you're aware, but you can zoom in on these. Okay, so you can make this 100%, and then we can work the right here and take a look at each page as we go. So I'm going to go to page 2 there, page 3, page 4. I'm going to go back up to page 1 and we're going to take a look at the instructions. Okay, so the directions are to read the following speech carefully, take notes in the margins, and answer the questions in the margins to the right as you read. Write comments that show you understand the speech. A summary or statement of the main idea of each section serves this purpose. Okay, so just some information in the margins there that you can. Maybe you can make it a different color to differentiate it from the speech. Okay, different color font. You are going to ask questions that show you're wondering about as you read. Identify and explain observations or of rhetorical devices, for instance, alliteration, allusion, anaphora, metaphors, similes, etc. Okay, we're only going to be dealing with a couple of those, and I'm going to go through those as we go through the questions. All right, so you can see here that we have the speech here, and that's the first page, and then it'll continue on to the second page. Speech to the left here I'm looking at, okay, and then that will continue on to the third page and finish up on the fourth page there as you read, okay. As you go, I'm going to go back up to the first page again. As you go, there are questions on the right. So I'm just going to go over these questions quickly to help us out. Okay, so number 1, for example, asks us, the phrase 50 years ago is an allusion to what and whom? Okay, so you'll have to know a little bit of history there, but first that we have to know what an allusion is. We learned this during the year, I hope you remember. An allusion is a reference to any other text, especially in an historical text. So it's a reference. So my example here is, this place is so beautiful that I feel like I'm in the Garden of Eden. If you know anything about the Garden of Eden, you know that that's a reference to the Bible and the story of Eden, the beauty of Eden and the perfection of Eden before Adam and Eve's fall from grace. So that's an allusion. I'm referencing the Bible in saying that. I could reference in other ways. I could say two friends that desire to live under the sea together. That could be a strange allusion to SpongeBob SquarePants. I could allude to maybe in a story two young lovers that are not allowed to love each other. You could see that I might be I'm making an allusion to Romeo and Juliet. So when you are referencing something, a text or something historical, particularly in a text, you are making an allusion to that text. Okay, so here we're asking what Martin Luther King is alluding to there 50 years ago. So you have to know a little something about history in order to answer that one. Okay, number 2, what is the setting, time, and place of this speech? What time period is King recalling when he uses the word manacles of segregation and chains? And then, of course, here we've got King uses numerous metaphors to describe the impact of the Constitution and Declaration of Independence on all citizens of America. Just a reminder that a metaphor, of course, is a comparison of two unlike things, not using like or as. So my example here is, her homework was a mountain of time. Okay, so here obviously I'm comparing her homework, and it's even more complex in the sense that I'm comparing her homework to the amount of time it will probably take to complete it, and then you can sort of infer from there that she has a lot of homework that's going to take a lot of time, much like it would take a lot of time to climb a mountain. So her homework was a mountain of time, comparing that to homework to The time it will take to complete it is a comparison, but I didn't use like or as in that particular metaphor. All right, which makes it a metaphor, of course. Number 5, it talks about anaphora. Anaphora is the repetition of a word or words at the beginning of 2 or more sentences. Remember that anaphora is a word or phrase that is used repeatedly within the speech or text for artistic effect or to make a particular point. So I've got one here that was a speech given by a prime minister of Britain during World War II, and he wanted to rally the people to his side. So the example here is, we shall not flag or fail. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight in the oceans. You can see there that I've underlined the phrase we shall. He keeps repeating that over and over again to make his point and to strengthen the dramatic aspect of what he's trying to say. So there, at page 2, you're going to identify at least 2 examples of anaphora, much like the one up top, in these first 4 paragraphs, and explain the purpose behind the repetition. So you're going to explain why you think Martin Luther King was using anaphora in those particular contexts. Let me move on to page 3. Okay, page 3. We have a question. Identify at least 3 rhetorical devices, figures of speech on this page. Go back to the top and look at our anaphora. Go back to look at our metaphor, our similes, things like that, and try to identify at least 3 rhetorical devices that he uses on this page. Okay, this is page 3. List 5 of King's dreams, and that's it for page 3. Relatively self-explanatory. Let's go to page 4. Identify at least 2 examples of anaphora on this page. Okay, again, a reminder, anaphora is a phrase or maybe even just a word that's repeated over and over again for artistic effect and to make a point. Okay, again, I've given you the same one. We shall not flag or fail. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight in the oceans. There's a famous book by the author Charles Dickens where he starts, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was. So he keeps saying it was over and again to create that dramatic effect in opening up his novel. Okay, so that's anaphora, that continual use of a word or a text. And you're going to look for it on this 4th page here. Compare how King describes the western and northeastern states to the southern states. And number 14, King references the patriotic song, America, My Country, 'Tis of Thee, and a Negro spiritual on this page. What do the 2 songs have in common? Which song do you think has a more powerful message on the speech? I dare say we might say that he's making an allusion to My Country, 'Tis of Thee. So again, another allusion. Okay, so that's what you'll be doing for these 4 pages. Let me go back to page 1 again. Okay, so just read the questions very carefully. Read the descriptions of figurative language being used, rhetorical devices being used, and the examples so that you'll know what to look for. You'll always type the answer on the right-hand side there. Okay, I just kind of zoomed in a little bit more. The right-hand side there for all 3 pages, and you shouldn't have a problem. Okay, I certainly hope this helps, and if you have any questions, please do reach out to me. Okay, I'd like to hear from you. Okay, guys, good luck. Bye-bye.